How you doing, everyone? Welcome back. Well, I did a video here, actually a very angry video on that school shooting down in Georgia. Actually, the very next day there was another one. This seemed to be, I would guess this was just a personal thing between one student and another, because it was one student that was shot in a school bathroom. When I first saw the report they were injured, that student has since died. And I in that video, I pointed out that the last time there was not the last year that there was not a shooting in a K through 12 school was 1981, and that the last time there was no school shooting of any kind was 1965. So, I actually still am very angry about this whole situation about, schools. All right, I'm in Iowa, right? And the biggest threats that we have in Iowa, as far as, what's, unfortunately, yeah, school shootings is one of those, but the biggest threats that we had when I was growing up in schools, we had fire drills, we had tornado drills. Now, fire drills, we can't do, you can't do fire drills or can't do active shooter drills like you would do fire drills, because, yeah, you're sending them all outside, and now you've got more little targets all over the place. But then again, you've got, I don't know, there's two schools of thought on that, I guess. But, tornado drills, and, back then it was probably kind of silly the way we did it. I don't know if they still do it this way, but we would all go sit in the hallway next to the lockers and put a book over our heads. It was, actually, I've got a book over here. Let me, got a book right here. We would hunker down, something like that, right? That's what we would do. And I don't know if that would have really been helpful or not back then, but we never had tornadoes, so it ended up not being a thing. There's tornadoes in Iowa all the time, but we never had tornadoes where I grew up. So, mass shooter drills. Yeah, that's a thing. I can't even imagine. I'm glad my kids are out of school, because I don't want to have to worry about them getting shot up. But, I could have grandkids at any time, and I don't want to have to worry about them when they go to school. I don't have grandkids, but I'm sure I will someday. Probably in the not too distant future. Considering my son is, he'll be 27 soon. So, not that I'm, in a rush for him to go out and make grandkids for me or anything, but I'm sure it'll happen at some point. I mean, I hope it does at some point. But I'm just, I don't want to have to worry about them when they go to school, you know? And these things, they happen everywhere, right? Well, they don't really happen, I guess, everywhere, but because there are certain states where it just really doesn't happen, you know? There's a handful of places where it doesn't happen. And that's not to say that it can't happen, it's just that it hasn't. And I don't know if it's something that those places are doing differently, or if it's just that they have small populations and that's why it just hasn't hit them yet. You know, I'm talking states like, Vermont and I want to say Montana is one of them. I had the notes. I didn't think I would need those notes for this video, so I didn't have them in front of me here. But yeah, there are some states where it just doesn't happen. And we need to look at what is happening in those states. I mean, because either they are doing something very right, or they are getting very lucky. And I don't know which one it is. I really don't know which one it is. And, it's not that they don't have school shootings at all, but they don't have the mass incidents, So, what are they doing? Again, it could just be small population, because it stands to reason that California has the most because they have the highest population. And, states like Texas and Florida and Illinois, and I think Pennsylvania is probably up there as well. It makes sense that those states would be up there. But then you've got New York, which is kind of out of whack. They're on the low end of things. So, I mean, they've got, the fourth largest population, and yet very few of these incidents. Why is that? I mean, you can take a look at what the gun laws are. In states like Illinois and California, they're more restrictive. In states like Texas and Florida, they're more permissive. So is it the gun laws? I don't know. Maybe that could be a factor. Is it mental health? We know that that's a factor. I mean, it's not that everybody out there who does this has mental health issues. I mean, they don't all, they're not all mentally ill. So what is it? But that is a factor though. Mental illness is part of it. Mental health is part of it. But then, the same people who don't want to do anything about guns will say it's completely a mental health thing, and then they don't want to do anything about mental health. Why not? Why? Why is that? I mean, J.D. Vance said that, he doesn't want more security at his kid's school. Well, you know what, JD, you're not like the rest of us. I mean, your kids don't go to public school. Your kids already go to very secure private schools, and which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, go ahead and send your kids to private schools. But then to just say that, as far as everybody else, well, that's just a fact of life. We need almost like, get used to it. I mean, it's going to happen. Or, Donald Trump at the one in Perry, Iowa earlier this year, back in January. We just need to get over it. Why? Why do we need to get over it? No, we don't. We need to get to the root cause, and I'm convinced that it's not guns by itself. Okay, guns, that's part of it. Mental health is part of it. School security is part of it. There's a big picture here, and there is no one simple, easy answer. Not, hey, let's just make schools no longer gun-free zones. It's not that simple. And I don't know what the answer is. I don't think any of us knows what the answer is. What I do know is that it's not simple. There is not an easy solution. It's not something that can be solved with a soundbite. It's not arm the teachers. It's not, hey, you know what? We need armed guards at every school. When a lot of these schools already have armed security in the form of school resource officers and whatnot. It's not, hey, let's make them no longer gun-free zones. And somebody else today said that, back when I was going to school, we didn't have these school shootings. But then again, we also didn't have books about gay penguins. Okay, first of all, that book just came out, fairly recently, like within just the past few years. And it just teaches that, gay people exist and we need to accept them. Okay, it doesn't promote being gay. It just says they exist. We need to accept them. And like I said before, school shootings have happened every single year, starting in 1966. Every single year. So yeah, there were school shootings when you went to school. Unless you're Silent Generation or something. But yeah, there were school shootings. And there's... I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what the answer is. But they certainly existed. They were not as common, but they were on the rise long before that book about penguins. So don't use that as an excuse. Because that's been going on. They decreased for a while. Then, starting about 20 years ago, is when they started to increase again. Why is that? Well, we have some ideas, but I guess nobody wants to know for sure. I guess I'll just see you next time.